Hello, everyone. Today, we'll be doing a basic tutorial in how to use Microsoft Project. So to get started today, we are going to be using the exercise 4 from chapter 5 of the book Project Management in Practice, the 6th edition. As you can see here, they give you this table, and we won't be doing any of these questions down here. We're just going to be focusing on this table right here, because with this, we are going to build out this project in Microsoft Project. This is an assignment that I did for a class called Project Management or the Oregon Institute of Technology with Professor Jared Amard. And I highly recommend this class to anyone that is interested in getting into project management. So I'm going to give you guys time to stop the video, pause, take a picture of this, and then I won't show it up for the rest of the video because I'll have it pulled up on another screen. But go ahead, take a picture, and we'll use it for this activity. Okay, so let's start by opening up Microsoft Project here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to choose the blank project here. And let's get started. So as you can see, when you open up Project, you have a left side of the screen and the right side of the screen. So the left side of the screen is where we'll be inputting our activities and our tasks. And the right side of the screen is where a Gantt chart will show up. And the Gantt chart will show how long each activity will take with the different days of the week. So for right now, we're just going to focus on the left side of the screen, and we're going to be inputting the tasks it gives us. So first, we're going to start with a summary task. So a summary task is your overall arching task. This could be you're building a house or developing a software app. For this one, we're just going to call this activity 4. We're just going to call it activity 4 because it doesn't give us one in the book. So to create a summary task, you can do it one of two ways. The first way is you can come up here and you can click summary task, and this will create a new summary task. And then it gives us a spot for activities below. So let's go ahead and put in activity 4. Okay, so that's our summary task. And then the ones that are going to go below it are all of our individual activities that we need to do our project. So in this case, it's activities A through I. So let's go ahead and put those in. So now we have activities A through I, and you can see they're all indented, so they're under the summary task here. Now, the other way that you can create a summary task is if you're just putting these things in, they'd be all the same indentation here. There's no summary task. What you can do is you can come under the one you want to be the summary task, and you can just indent all of those activities, and it becomes the summary task again. You can see because it's bolded there. So it becomes the summary task again. So right now, none of our activities have any duration. They have no duration here. And so our summary task has 0 days. So we're going to want to put in our durations now. But before we do that, what we want to do is we want to come over to task mode and we want to hit auto schedule. And we want to do this because when we put in our durations now, it is automatically going to schedule our start and finish times for each activity. And this is very helpful. And you can also see that over on the right side, all of our activities now have a duration because it auto-scheduled for 1 day ? Because it's just kind of putting in 1 day, which we'll obviously go ahead and change. But now you can see each of our activities have a date. So let's go ahead now and let's go ahead and put in a duration for each of these. And so it gives us the duration for each activity. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those in now. It's in the middle column of that chart we showed. All right, so now we have our durations in here. And we can see that the summary task says it is going to take us 6 days to do this project. And that's because if you look over here on the right-hand side, you can see that all of our activities are starting on the same date. But of course, if you're doing a project, you can't start everything on the same date typically, right? You're going to have to do maybe activity A and then activity B and then activity C and so on. And so we're going to put in predecessors, and we're going to use the predecessors column that it already gives us. And so predecessors are going to be very helpful to use. So to do predecessors, let's look back at our chart that the book gave us. So activity A has a duration of 4 days, and it says that it has no predecessors. So this is going to be our first task. And so because it has no predecessors, obviously we don't need to put anything in this box. Now, for activity B, it says it has a duration of 6 days, which we already put in, and it has a predecessor of A. So it has a predecessor of A, which is up here on line 2. So for inputting predecessors, you can't just go ahead and put in A here, because Microsoft Project, it doesn't do predecessors by the name of the task. It does predecessors by what line the activity is on. So instead of putting in A as a predecessor for B, we're going to put in 2. Because activity A is on line 2, it's the predecessor of B is going to be line 2. Now, as you can see here over on the right-hand side of the screen, we have activity A here, or task A, which takes 4 days, so the 7th through the 10th, and then it finishes, and then it's bumped out activity B until after the weekend, until the next working day, which is Monday. And so as you can see, we finish activity A, and now we can move on to activity B, because that's just what the predecessors does. So now let's go ahead and put in predecessors for the rest of the activities. So activity C, as you can see on your chart, it also has a predecessor of A. So we're going to go ahead and put in line 2 here again for activity C. It does the same thing. Activity D, it has a predecessor of C, which is on line 4 here. So C is on line 4, so predecessor of 4, or C. Activity E has a predecessor of B, which is up on line 3. Activity F. Now, activity F has predecessors of B and D. So to do this, all we have to do is B is on line 3 and D is on line 5. So all we have to do is put 3, 5. And so that'll input 2 predecessors for activity F. Now for G, it has a predecessor of C, which is on line 4. So we can just put in 4 there. H has 2 predecessors of F and G. F and G are on lines 7 and 8 respectively. So again, 7, 8. And I has a predecessor of E and H. So E is on line 6 and H is on line 9. So 6 and 9. 6, 9. Whoops, there we go. All right, 6 and 9. Now you can see here that we can look at a couple things. So first of all, on the right-hand side of the screen, it has bumped out all of our tasks. So now they're predecessors. So the arrows show precedence. Once you do A, then you can do B and C, and then you can go so on and so on, all the way out to activity I. You can also see that the summary task now has a duration of 21 days, with a start date on June 7th, which is today. It'll automatically schedule for starting today, and it will finish on July the 5th. One last thing, if you wanted to change the start date of the project, let's say you're not starting today, let's say you're starting on next Monday, which is the 13th, you don't want to change the start duration here in the project, because Microsoft Project, it gets a little funky. It's not great for doing that. So what you want to do instead is you want to go back, you want to go to the project bar up here, you want to go to project information, and you want to change the start date from inside project information. And this will make it so that everything works with Microsoft Project. So let's change our start date to the 13th, like we talked about earlier, starting next Monday. You click OK, and the whole project will change, and everything will be set to start Monday the 13th. It will still take 21 days, and instead we'll finish July the 11th. So this has been a basic tutorial from Microsoft Project. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you learned something.